Hello everyone, I'm an author, I'm 26 and I don't have a graduation degree. So being here at this place, at this college is a little too intimidating for the academic insecure part of me. I know I'm going to yammer, fumble at the word vulnerability, mispronounce ruin and genre and blow everything up today. I just know it. But I'm still going to go ahead and speak up because if I don't blow up today, I'm going to do that tomorrow. Or I might never be able to speak at any important event in the fear of what embarrassment might feel like. So our topic today is Upside of Your Darkness. So I'm going to be talking about a part of my life that recently expanded my vision and connected me back to my original perception of love and care. I never got to have a normal college experience, but when I was in school, I was fond of college romance. I believe when you are in college, you have your whole life ahead. You can afford to make mistakes, get your heart broken, make a big fool out of yourself, then dust it off and laugh at it. But we don't always get everything on our checklist. Life gets heavy, at times too heavy. When you're too late for the game and you have to do everything at once, life gets the heaviest then. My life today is nothing how I planned it or how my parents planned it. The scary thing about doing what I'm doing now, this work that I absolutely love doing, the fear is if I fail at this, my whole world will collapse and I'll be the only person responsible for it. And I won't even have time to fix. Now, when you are young, I want you to know that you have the most precious thing in this world. You have time, you have opportunities, you have chances. And with this, you have hopes and dreams, the two things that are not going to be with you forever. But they should be because they will keep you young and raw and true to yourself. I know it's weird for you when I say that being 26, I still believe in fairy tales, prince, and happy endings. I'm sure even when you're so young, a lot of you don't believe in these things anymore. Okay, sorry. But I do, and I wish you do too. It's uncomfortable for me to think through love, to plan on it, but that doesn't mean I'll never ugly up my house with practical things or I won't fight over spilled milk. It's just a strange thing for me to be in love with half my heart and all my brain. That goes for my book too. I often get questions from young writers, what should I write and how should I write? I don't think anybody can answer this question honestly. There can be a million bookish answer to it, but I feel a book writes itself. And it only writes itself when it feels the urgency to be written. Last year, I was an invisible lost girl in a big t-shirt with a holder in the shoulder. With a hole in the shoulder. Sitting in my room on terrace in May, crying and mourning and texting a stranger on the internet. I'm still invisible, but no more lost, I guess. In the last 1 year, my family and we had big losses. The thing about grief is that there's no right or wrong way of grieving. Some repress, some yell, some cry, and some like me, we seek comfort in illusion. I'm a girl with OCD. Whenever life gets hard on me, I obsess over something or someone, and that obsession takes me far, far away from my actual pain and losses. I get a hazy little thought for a moment until that becomes the only thing I can think about. It gives me an undefinable sense of purpose, hope, and emotions. I had cut myself off from every real person in my life back then because I wanted to run as far as I could. There was a boy on the internet. When I saw him then, in my state of self-pity, he felt like a beautiful dream. We never talked, we never met, but I was so weak on the inside, so broken and ripped off, that when I saw his picture, it appeared to me as the most incredible picture I had ever seen in my life. When he replied to me, I felt like my life was no more sad and I could still dream. In between my vulnerabilities and breakdown, I wrote a book for the internet boy, for myself, and for all my losses. Because at that moment, if I had not written this book, if I had not validated my emotions, nobody else would have done that for me, and I would have probably died. When I submitted my final manuscript, my blood pressure was low, and I didn't want them to publish it. My editor backed off at the last moment, and my crush, the guy I wrote this book for, was an academic genius. So I was sure if he would just scribble out something random on his phone, that text had been better than my entire book. Then one day, one of my readers texted me. She lost her mother when she was 8. And she lost her father a few months back. She said when she started reading my book, that was the first time she smiled in all those months. In that moment, I realized maybe the person I'm seeking validation from might never read my book, but people are reading. And people are reading the things I have written and also the things I have not written. I should focus on them. I started writing stories when I was 10. My entire life has always been all about making stories and falling in love. And I don't regret that. Because in the process, I realized I'm a person with a strong urge of loving someone and belonging to someone. But the next person might be struggling with accepting the same. A lot of you might often believe that you are being loved this hard because the other person who is fond of you isn't good enough themselves. But in truth, you are struggling to accept that you are worthy of this affection and attention. I think it takes a lot of courage to be imperfect and accept the imperfection. But I can tell, when you accept yourself, you realize that you have always been worthy of the love and importance you feared believing in. There's one thing that's common between you and me. We regret opening up. I reveal too much too soon. I misspeak, trust, self-sabotage, ruin perfect things. Then I feel very guilty. I beat myself up. I make promises to myself that I'm never going to overshare, but then I do that again. But why are we so hard on ourselves after opening up? We value human connections and communications, and we are capable of depending on people and have them depend on us. There's nothing wrong in it. There's nothing wrong in taking risks, in investing into something that might work but probably won't. I think we fear rejection. We fear shame. We fear being ghosted and shut down. When we are vulnerable and needy, it somehow hurts our pride to ask for help and have them say no. In that case, we switch voices quickly, which is confusing to us, and 5 years from now, if this continues, we'll stop opening up and also stop becoming a listener to others. I often end up questioning myself, who do I really want to become out of these two situations? Well, I can be anybody, but I want to be this person I am today. The person who loves and cares so deeply, who owns her stories and mistakes, and even after the hurt and embarrassment and humiliation and being shut down, this person doesn't hate or stop depending on other humans. Now, when you are young, along with all the good things and bad things, you have a very big responsibility to stay who you originally are. Never give up on somebody's insecurities or the fear of falling short, being the misfit, being the needy, being the over-enthusiastic. You have a very big responsibility to preserve your kindness and innocence. There's nothing wrong in saying the first hi, or sorry, or I love you. In my life, I'm very firm that I'll never ever make anyone feel the way I don't want to feel about myself. I can never leave any text on scene. I can never interrupt anyone mid-story. I can and will never invalidate or neglect anyone. Even when I'm not close to the person, I cannot not compliment on their new dress, on new hobby, and on anything new they are trying, because I know they are working very hard, and I also know they are just one step away from quitting. Our generation is very insecure and sad and lonely. There isn't a worse feeling than feeling unimportant, worthless, the feeling of why and for whom, the feeling that nobody cares about my story or me. We all know that feeling, we all know that trigger, and that's why we should never, in our senses, make anyone feel that way. Even when they make us feel exactly like that. Because deep down, I know, maybe I'll not get the same amount of kindness from the same group of people I'm kind to, but I know that the universe always brings to you what you give out. I know people will be and already are 1,000 times kinder to you than you are to others. At 4 in the morning when I'm crying, not texting my friends, I get 5 texts on my phone at once. Are you crying? Call me, I'm there. My parents, like all the parents from a middle-class family, had big academic dreams from me, and I did let them down. But they always gave me the chances that I asked for. Today, if I'm speaking here, however, that's only because of some of my wonderfully selfless friends and family members. I believe connection is everything. And I believe I deserve this kind of love and support because I give that out in the universe all the time. I believe when you are young, you are kinder, and you should always be like that. You should always be young at heart. You should definitely be successful, so that tomorrow if somebody makes you feel like trash, you don't believe them. In our society, you are validated only when you are successful. Everything else is dismissed. So success is not optional, but the challenge is to become successful and still remain a good person. We don't want to be people who talk mental health and healing on professional levels, then they neglect you and make you feel small at personal level. Being successful academically or creatively or both ways is not just our hard work. It has sacrifices of all those who love us a little too much to care about their own dreams and hobbies. Those who believe in us despite the disappointments, and those who don't believe in us but still support us no matter what. There are a bazillion people in this world who can make you feel like you're invisible, like you're not worth a conversation. But there are a few who are always going to be there. And as a gratitude to those who sacrificed for you, you should be kind to everyone, even to those who are not kind to you. But if you don't embrace your vulnerabilities and quirks, you're never going to be compassionate to yourself, much less to others. Vulnerability isn't comfortable or beautiful. It's painful and embarrassing. But it's a part of you that you can never outlive. So the connections you make when you are who you are are the most authentic connections you ever make. So as I said, I'll blow up today. I did. And thank you for having me here.